Hey guys, it's me Jen. I'm here with a very simple tutorial for any of you guys who are beginning artists. And I'll show you a little bit about light and shadows and how to execute that in a picture or a drawing. So I'm starting with my background layer and I'm going to get another layer on top of it. You never want to draw directly on your background layer because you will just hate yourself when you're needing to change that later on. So I'm just going to get my brush tool and I'm going to go into a black color and we're just going to draw a little circle. There we go. It's not perfect. You know what? Let's just make it a smiley face because that just makes it more fun. Yay! We're drawing. Okay, so we have our little smiley face. This is our ink layer, okay? That's very, very important. Keep your ink layer and your color layers separate. You will thank me. This is the background layer. This is the ink layer. Now we need our color layers. So we're going to get in here and we're going to create another layer. Now what I like to do is layer. Oops, hold on a second. My pen got away from me. Okay, there we go. What I like to do is for every layer, for every separate color in a situation, I like to have two layers. So say there was the body and then he had, let's just go up here and draw a little hat for some reason. I'm just going to delete this in a second, but say he had a hat. So I'd have one layer for the body color and one layer for the hat color so that things don't get muddled. It may seem a little intense when you're just first starting and setting up, but in the long run, your drawing will be so much easier because inevitably you're going to draw something and there's going to be a problem. And so you're going to need to either fix it or change it. And if everything is separated, it makes your life a ton easier. So let's get started and color in this smiley face. And I want to make this smiley face pink because I am just in a pink mood. So let's color in this bad boy. Let's make my brush a little bit bigger. You want to make sure that when you're coloring in your smiley face, your color layer is behind your ink layer so that it looks like this. So I'm not really going to worry about making the most perfect coloring job because this is more about how to shade and shadow. So, you know, precision isn't like the most important thing in the world, but you know, we're just going to do the best we can for this little guy or girl, whatever. So there you go. So what I like to do, my method is whenever I do anything, I use 3 to 4 separate colors to create light and shadow. So the way that I do that is I put one dot, that's my main color. Then, and if you ever see any of my speed drawings, you'll see on the side I have a whole palette of different colors like this. So this is my main color. Then I go into the color picker and I create a darker version, which is going to be the shadow. So that darker version, depending on what's going on, could be over here, could be over here. It just depends on exactly the look that you're going for, and just eyeball it. So there you go, that's the darker shadow area. I might actually make another one that's a little bit lighter. Sometimes you gotta play with these a little bit, but the more you do it, yeah, I like that much better. The more you do it, the more you're gonna get a feel for it. Next, I wanna go back to my eyedropper tool, boop, and then I wanna create a lighter color. So like here, and again, it's up to you how you want to do this, and you can just use your own artist's interpretation, because that's the benefit of all this. And I'm gonna even go a little crazier and get a bit of a lighter color that's like almost white. So there we go. This is my color palette for this situation. Now I want to go into black real quick because I want to illustrate something for you guys. Whatever you're going to draw, you're going to find that the sun or the light source is coming from a direction. It could come from this. Ooh, what am I doing? Sorry, guys. I did not mean to do that. There we go. The light source can come from different directions. It can come from sorry, I realized my pencil was huge. It could come from here. It could come from here, here. I mean, it could come from any place that you could imagine. So you want to make sure that when you're drawing, you know where the light source is coming from. Let's get rid of these little arrows. We're going to say this one's coming from here. So because that's coming from here, you're going to imagine a cone. Why do I keep doing that? Oh my goodness, you guys, what is going on here? So because the light source is coming from this direction, you almost want to imagine that there's this cone of light. And so anything that's on this side of the cone, I'm just going to draw this line and then we're going to delete it. Anything that's on this side of the cone is going to be light. Anything that's on this side of the cone is going to be more dark, and that's how it goes. So whatever's nearest the light is going to be lit. Whatever's more further away from the light is going to be darker. So I'm just going to get rid of my lines because they're kind of messing up my drawing. We'll leave that just for an artist's reference, okay? So the first thing that I usually do is I put in the shadows. So I want to go into my little eyedropper tool. I want to find this. And it is, in my opinion, it's a good idea to draw these shadow pieces directly on the other color. So if we had two different colors, I would want to do a different palette for each color, and then I'd want to do a different layer for each color. But when it comes to adding the shadows and the lights, I like to put that all on the same color because it tends to blend much better. You also want to make sure that whatever pen you're choosing has a softer edge to it. And you want to make sure that you allow for as much softness as possible, because whenever you're creating shadows, you want softer lines. So we're imagining that the light is on this side. So that would mean the darker side is going to be over here. So you just kind of go in here and you just create the darker side. Now, what I would suggest you guys is to find reference photos, things like that, that are going to give you a bigger sense of color and depth. So I feel like I put a little too much of the shadow color. So I'm just going to go in here and make this a little bit smaller. But as you can see, this is already starting to look more two-dimensional. Now you notice I did go outside the lines, and that's okay because I can fix that later. So we're going to do the shadow here, and we're going to leave it like that. And now we're going to go into the lighter colors. So let's go get our little picker. And that just sounds fun to say. And now we're going to go here. Now there's two different things we can do, and it depends on how we want this to look. What we could do is, if you think about a shiny ball or a shiny, like a bowling ball or a balloon or a surface like that, we could do the we could do like this if we want to, and that's a look. That's definitely a look. We can go that direction, or we can just do a very shiny section over here. And maybe this is even too big of a section. Let's make this a little bit smaller. I think that we can make this look a little bit better. Maybe just in this area right here. So keep in mind that whatever you do, try to use references for real everyday items, because that will help you out a lot. And then we can go through and choose this other color right here, like this. And then we're going to layer that on top to create even more of a shine. And I know that it doesn't look the best right now, you guys, but trust me, we're going to make some magic here, you guys. You don't even know. And then if you want it to look super, super shiny, like ultra, ultra shiny, then you can go into the white like this and just go in the middle there like that, and see, that really gives it a good shine. And these are, I mean, this is just a round ball, so there's not like a ton you can do here. But then once you get that going, then you go into your blending tool. Your blending tool is like your secret weapon. If any of you have ever drawn with a pencil, and you know after you draw with a pencil you take your finger and you kind of smudge it and it just makes it look seamless, that's what your blending tool does. So you just get in there and you just blend these lines even more so. And that's why I told you to use a softer brush, because it just makes your life so much easier. But if you can see how this looks, it's getting a little bit better. And then we're going to go in here and we're going to blend. And it just gives it a sense of depth and reality. And like I said, this isn't perfect. This is just kind of a quick illustration about light and shadow and how you want things to go. And you just keep playing. And that's the good thing about art, is you just keep playing and playing and playing. Then once you get that done, we're going to go in with the eraser. And I'm going to show you some other little tricks and tips. Well, actually, I shouldn't say a lot. There's going to be like one other thing I'm going to show you. So let's just get rid of this. And the more you get rid of these extras, you'll see it kind of comes to life. Whenever I erase, when I color outside the lines, it reminds me of being an archaeologist and how they have to dig away at all the dirt, and then when they do, they reveal like something really cool and interesting. That's how I feel when I'm erasing the excess color. But if you see already, this ball looks like it has some shape. I'm not crazy about the highlight area. I feel like this could really be blended in a little bit more, but that's okay. We're just gonna do our best. And I'm gonna take this white color and I'm just gonna go also a little bit more down, because I think that like this could be the highlight area right here where the light is really hitting, and then we can make the ball go down a little bit more, that little streak of light to go down a little bit more, just to really bring it home. And like I said, it's going to matter in the long run how you feel and what you like and what you think is the best. I would probably want to make these lines a little bit lighter. And you have to just experiment. You know, what did I do? What did I do? I forgot. I went into the wrong thing. We need to go back to this. And this is why I have my palettes, because you're going to need to refer back to these colors from time to time. There we go. You're going to need to refer back to these colors because you will inevitably make a mistake. So you want to make sure that you can get what you need. So this is a pretty rough estimate. And then if you want to, you can get a black color here. And then of course, because this is the shadow, it would cast a shadow on the floor. So that doesn't look very good. I need to make this brush a little bit smaller so that we don't make it look too bad. But this ball would cast a shadow on the floor, so we'll do that. And that's pretty much it, you guys. This is a very crude aspect of what I'm trying to teach you, but I feel like this can give you a little bit of direction. So this is, a good sense. So I want you to really look at shadows and light and how things progress. I'm just going to show you another example of this. Let me just add another layer. New layer. Okay. We're going to get rid of the smiley face. Okay. What I'm going to draw now, oops, how did that happen? Okay, sorry. What I'm going to draw now is just some fabric real quick, because this is going to give you something that's a little bit more tangible maybe for you guys. I'm going to go back to my hard brush and let's draw a fabric. So let's say this is like a skirt. So a skirt's going to have these little doodads in it. Okay, and then this would be like the top of the skirt. So this is a very cartoony skirt. But what you're going to notice is, I'm going to go back and I'm going to refer to, I'm going to just give you guys another layer here. layer. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to go back into this one to get our colors. So that is just a thing. So we're going to go and get the, let's do the skirt a little bit different this time. Let's make the skirt this middle pink color. Let's do that instead. So we're going to color in the skirt. Let's make this bigger so we can do this quicker. Oops. I could probably use the fill tool, but just in case it doesn't work, I don't want to deal with that. So I'm just going to color it in the basics. Just give it a good old wash of color. And then we're going to say that the light source is coming from the same area. So there we go. All right, so we're going to go back in and we're going to get the darker pink color. Now we're going to go back to our brush, and then we're going to go to one of these colors, and then we're just going to start painting. Now what I want you guys to think about is in a skirt there's concave and convex shapes. So concave is obviously when something caves in. So when you think about a spoon, the part of the spoon that the food goes on is concave, and the part of the spoon that's underneath that pops out is convex. So anything that's concave, there's going to be shadows there. So you want to think about that. I keep grabbing the wrong thing. Sorry, guys. You want to, there we go. You want to, let me just make this a little bit smaller because that's just going to be way too big. Okay. Anything that's concave, you want to put the shadow in that section, in that area. My brush is a little too big. So you want to make sure that you have that area covered. Now, because this skirt has pretty big flaps, you don't have to cover the whole thing, but some of it. And then, so like that, anything that is convex, you want less. You can always do a little bit out here just because, but you don't have to do a ton. It's mostly important to do it on the areas that go inside. So like this area over here, like this. Now, in reality, a skirt is a three-dimensional object. So the lines are not going to always be straight. They're going to probably match up a little bit. You might see some curving to go along with the curvature of the skirt. So like this line over here might come out a little bit more. The more you can kind of pay attention to the way things look, the more realistic your stuff is going to look. The more you're going to see it begin to pop. So I'm not going to do the whole skirt because that would just take forever. But if you can see, we're at the beginnings of something. So once we get things the way we want them, I'm going to go into the blend tool and we're going to just blend. And the more you blend, the more you'll start to see things coming together, and the more you'll start to see an improvement happening. So this blending part is kind of a pain, and it takes a while, but in the end it is worth it because it really does make a huge difference in the outer product. When I was younger, I used to see artists in books and stuff, and I would see their drawings, and I would see the lines. They looked so seamless, and I would always wonder, like, how did they do that? And it was because of blending. So now we have this going. Now we're going to need a highlight color, so let's go back into the pink, and then let's go into a really, ooh, how do we get blue? That was weird. Let's try to do this. Cancel. Go back to the pink. Go back to the pink. And let's try to get a lighter color, maybe that. And then we'll go back into the brush And then this is where the lighter stuff would go. So